Vacations will never be the same. Welcome to the theme parks of Universal Orlando Resort. With spectacular hotels and more, Universal Orlando offers an entire week of vacation awesome. Visit universalorlando.com.
Richard Nixon.
Well, I'm not a crook.
Ronald Reagan.
Tear down this wall.
George W. Bush.
I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you.
And Donald Trump.
And a friend of mine for a long time, he only likes politics. If you ask him about how are the Yankees doing, he has no interest. If you ask him almost anything, he likes politics, and he's a professional at the highest level. Roger Stone.
All of these presidents relied on one man to secure their seat in the Oval Office. That man is Roger Stone. This is The Roger Stone Show on 77 WABC.
But my girl wants to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time. My girl wants to party all the time, party all the time.
We're joined now by Salvatore Greco. He is a 14-year, highly decorated veteran of the New York City Police Department with an unblemished record of service to the people of New York, often assigned to some of the most dangerous late-night locations in New York City, the graveyard shift, as they call it. He has been awarded with over 50 medals and commendations during his service to the people of New York. He was unjustly terminated by the New York City Police Department simply because he is a friend of mine. And he currently has an ongoing lawsuit against the New York City Police Department and some of the leadership there. A lawsuit, I might add, that the city has moved twice to have dismissed and has been overruled. Sal Greco has become an advocate for law, an expert on crime, has done a great job of analyzing the jiggered crime statistics we're being fed, and he's also a political enthusiast. You can see him on the Sal Greco Show across virtually every major video platform. Sal was with us a couple weeks ago, but there are major breaking developments in the case of New York City Mayor Eric Adams. So, Sal, thanks for joining us today on the Roger Stone Show, and please bring us up to date.
It's my honor, Roger. Well, it seems that Eric Adams was hit with a multitude of subpoenas for a federal grand jury because, you know, as I stated in the past, he is the target of the investigation. Now, he may run around. I believe he's, as of right now, in the last couple of days, he started to use a slogan we know very well, Roger. He says, Eric Adams did nothing wrong. But that's not going to be the case here, Roger. As you know, this investigation that they took the subpoena, they asked for subpoenas for, are for the Turkish embassy, the Turkey problem that he had when he went to see Turkey, which is a foreign government. He took a airplane ride there. He got seats for the plane. I guess the Turkish government may have paid for it. But the issue here was that an FDNY whistleblower was the one who presented a civil lawsuit last year that started this inquiry. And his claims, his allegations were that they sped up the inspection for a Turkish embassy in New York City, which would be against the rules of, you know, how this works. They can't just make a phone call and they all of a sudden get their inspection done and they're open, because that's corruption, Roger. It's the same as the nightclub that we always referenced last time, Conso Frito, who never had the Department of Buildings give them the right to have their party shed and actually deemed it unstable, and yet they remained open. They were never checked again by the Department of Buildings. So this is something that's been brewing his administration. I could tell you here, I believe exclusively that Ingrid Lewis-Martin, his right-hand woman, is in his administration. She was subpoenaed along with many others in his administration, his aides. So this is something that's growing and growing. As you know, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams has been on this case, and he already has a few notches under his belt, such as the illustrious senator, former Senator Bob Menendez, who had quite a lot to say about you at one time, and now he's not talking at all, Roger. So Damian Williams is on the case. He's a silent killer. I don't see Eric getting out of this one bit. I think he's very much in trouble. I also read that his attorney, that is a former prosecutor for Southern District of New York, he's been talking, and he's spinning the wheels in the media. But the bottom line here is, Roger, Eric Adams cannot testify because there's multitudes of people that are involved, and anything he says, as you know, can be said, oh, you lied to us, which would be a felony. I believe he's going to try to strike a deal. He's got the right attorney for it, and that would basically start the mayoral race a little early, because I just can't see him surviving this.
We stress in all fairness that neither Mayor Adams or anyone in his administration has yet been charged with a crime, although the mainstream media seems to write that this is inexorable and is coming his way. In the case of Officer Sal Greco, I can certainly understand your indignation about the current situation. You were terminated for violating a New York City police regulation that says that officers cannot associate with those who it can reasonably expected to have been or in the future be involved in criminal activity. By the way, notice there's no mention of a convicted felon. That's a perfectly fine regulation if it was applied evenly to everybody. But Eric Adams, when he was a captain in the New York City Police Department, he's written a book about it. He provided private security for Louis Farrakhan, for Mike Tyson, both of them convicted felons, and therefore I think it could be argued have in the past engaged in criminal activity. Now, Eric Adams, as a captain, was brought up on the same administrative charges as you were, but instead of them taking away his pension, removing his good conduct letter, and destroying his life, they docked him 15 vacation days. Why the different application of the regulations? We had an incident recently in which a New York City police officer sent a virulent anti-Trump post on social media, but Eric Adams said that no, nobody in his administration will be admonished for that. We also know that the fire commissioner was trying to track down those brave firefighters who, when Donald Trump was in New York City for his bogus trial, had the audacity to pose for pictures with a former president of the United States. They intended to fire these people. And then, of course, you have his own police commissioner, Ed Caban. He was one of those who partied at Consafrito, and therefore he came in contact with convicted felons, those who it can reasonably assume have in the past and will in the future, or might in the future, engage in criminal activity. So why hasn't he been terminated? All we're really asking for here is equal protection under the law.
That's right, Roger. We just want things to be fair. No more arbitrary rules where, certain rules apply to one and not the other. I mean, we see that all the time in politics as well. And it has to stop. I mean, here we have this nightclub, which is this is their final hurrah, by the way, this weekend. They advertise they're having a party all weekend long. I mean, the brother, Richard Caban, is facing a contempt of court hearing. He's thumbing his nose at the court. You shouldn't be doing this because this is going to be brought up, but the rules don't apply to them. I mean, the Department of Buildings they only have occupancy for 200 people. I mean, that's what it states in this article. Yet, the Buildings Department says they don't have any problems with the place, but they had an illegal shed and they never enforced anything there. The New York City sheriff goes there. Instead of enforcing things, he's partying with them. I mean, this is the kind of rules. The rules don't apply to the average Joe in New York City. They don't apply to these people. They only apply to the average Joe. That's what we're seeing. And by the way, Roger, that I saw something. You mentioned my case, and it's something that I want to bring up publicly here. I had a small file of discovery in my case. And I just want everyone to know that they violated a court order because in that file are many sealed records and documents in regards to you, Roger. And right now, my own lawyer is digging through this to see if you have a case. Because how is it that the New York City Police Department accessed your sealed records in my case, where it has nothing to do with what they were saying I did? They had a problem that I was associated with you. What does having your sealed records have to do with that? There's a problem in the New York City Police Department, Roger. It's bigger than Eddie Caban, who should be terminated and should walk off the job as we speak.
Well, the New York City police sergeant who conducted this investigation broke the law multiple times. First of all, when he approached your cell phone provider to get your records, he was first denied. Then when he came back to him and said that this was a criminal narcotics case, he got your records. There was never any accusation of involvement with narcotics. Sal, you don't even drink. And
right.
you were never dole tested, which would have come back negative, of course. So he lied in order to do this. He also went to the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C., and lied to them to obtain their security camera footage. You know what it showed? Nothing whatsoever. That's what it showed, because neither one of us was at the Capitol on January 6th, and we have no involvement in the activities there. In fact, in your case, one of the Oath Keepers, the guy who actually delivered a suitcase to my room, so that way they can say, oh, he was in Stone Suite. Well, if he was, it was for less than 3 minutes, and I didn't speak to him. But Joshua James, who I believe actually comes up for sentencing because of his conviction for insurrection, something I am not involved in and know nothing about. He testified under oath in your administrative trial to say exactly that. Neither Stone nor Greco were involved in, condoned, or were aware of in any way any activity that we engaged in at the Capitol on January 6th. It's there under oath. But of course, that will never get reported. This is all entirely, in my opinion, all based on guilt by association. That's why they have tried to destroy your life, and it is we are politically incorrect. Meanwhile, New York City is falling apart at the seams. We have an invasion of illegals. There are now, I believe, there are five-star luxury hotels in Manhattan that have been converted to be shelters for illegals. The Roosevelt Hotel, which, by the way, is on the list of national landmarks, was once the political headquarters of New York Governor Tom Dewey, New York Governor Nelson Rockefeller, New York City Mayor John V. Lindsay. They all had a suite of offices there where they met. It was longtime headquarters of the New York County Republican Committee. It was considered one of the elite hotels in New York. Today, it is not only a migrant shelter, but it is a site virtually every single day of violent crimes being committed in the lobbies, in the hallways. It's a travesty. And this is what New York City has come to. I remember New York City under Rudy Giuliani. They told Rudy Giuliani that New York City could not be tamed, that New York City's good days were over, that we just had to accept the rise in violent crime. We had to accept the dirty streets. We had to accept the high taxes and the flight of jobs. That we had to just put up with a lower standard of living because that's just the way it is. It's modern. And Rudy Giuliani, one of the greatest mayors in New York City history, And frankly, because Mayor Bloomberg continued many of the smarter policies of Mayor Giuliani, New York City was more stable, cleaner, and much safer. Those days are sadly gone. Sal, let me ask you this. The New York City Police Department keeps posting numbers that show that crime in every category under this administration is going down. What do you say about that?
That's a complete farce, Roger. I mean, you could check by going to Sam Antar, formerly known as Crazy Eddie, his X page, and every week, day by day, he breaks down that actually violent felonies are way up. Ever since Eric Adams became mayor, under his administration, violent felonies are up 33%. I don't know where he's getting his numbers. You could basically cherry pick your way through anything if you want, especially in a short amount of time. But Roger, right down the street from Gracie Mansion, in 1 week, he had a shooting and a rape. I mean, I worked in Coney Island, in 60th Precinct, and then as it was exclusive reported here on WABC by our friend Curtis Lee, who's on the case here, that there was a vicious rape by 2 illegal immigrants, one that had raped and was convicted of sexual assault a year prior and was released from prison somehow. I don't know how that is and how he's not a registered sex offender. They viciously raped this woman right near the boardwalk, Roger, on West 16th and Surf. This was a place that I personally, with the inspector of the precinct at the time, the 6-0, William Taylor, a great friend of mine, him and the rest of us worked hard to drive crime down in Coney Island. And now we're taking rapes. They're taking rapes right at 9 o'clock at night where anyone can see. These 2 illegal immigrants, one that came through the border and had what? An ICE detainer warrant, Roger, because the city doesn't honor the ICE detainer warrants because Bill de Blasio in 2014, he signed an executive order stating that police cannot work with ICE anymore. And Eric Adams sits there and cries about it and says, there's nothing he can do. No, there is something he could do. He can rescind that order. This is why, you mentioned Mayor Giuliani, Roger. We need Curtis Lee as the mayor of New York City. Curtis is all over these issues. And, Eric clearly, his head is in another area. And not that I don't think he would do anything about it, but to not be able to work with ICE, which you need, an ICE detainer warrant, which you need to honor, you could have avoided an incident like this with a vicious rape of this woman, which is disgusting, in a place that I hold near and dear to my heart, Coney Island.
It is certainly the old New York that I love, the New York where you could go to anniversaries and birthdays and special occasions at the 21 Club, but you could go to the Clam Bar underneath Grand Central Station. I have so many great memories of New York, and now I find that New York is just no longer exists. That New York where you could go to the Christmas tree lighting and know that you would be safe and not attacked by terrorists or radicals. That New York City just seems to be entirely gone, and it's an incredibly sad and heartbreaking thing. When we come back, one of the things I want to talk about is the proliferation and availability of marijuana in New York City. My father, when he was dying of cancer, benefited extraordinarily from medicinal marijuana. It restored his appetite. It helped with the horrific pain he was suffering. So I've seen the medicinal benefits myself. There's a proposal on the ballot in Florida where I live to legalize cannabis across the board for so-called recreational use. I have some reasons why I'm supporting that, although when I look at New York City, I rethink my position. See, last time I was there, everywhere I went, it smelled like pot. And I don't think that's what they had in mind. So when we come back with Officer Salvatore Greco, we will talk about the unfortunate downward spiral of New York City and what can be done about it. Thanks for joining us. This is the Roger Stone Show at 77 WABC Radio, and we'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
At Sephora, we've got what you want because you're obsessed with your skin and we're obsessed with what it needs. Sephora has the best products to help you get beautiful, glowing, radiant skin. With an extensive, inclusive range of results-driven formulas and in-store beauty advisors to help you find exactly which are right for you, the best skincare is only at Sephora. Sephora, for all your skincare.
It's the Roger Stone Show on 77 WABC.
And we're back. We're here with Salvatore Greco, a proud son of Staten Island, a 14-year veteran of the New York City Police Department with an unblemished record of service to the people of New York, often assigned to the graveyard shift in some of the most dangerous precincts in the city. And he is the host of the Sal Greco Show, which can be found every place you find great podcast and video. Sal, you and I were talking offline here about this incredible split in the Democrat Party. They're headed to a national convention where I think it is potentially we could see the kind of demonstrations, perhaps even violent demonstrations, that we saw at the 1968 Democrat convention in the same city of Chicago. So when people start making prognostications about the presidential race, there are many miles to go here. The convention is going to have an impact on this race. The debates are going to have an impact on this race. The sentencing of President Donald Trump in this bogus case in Manhattan, which comes up September 18th, is going to have an impact. I personally believe that if they incarcerate Donald Trump, it will be one of the greatest miscalculations of all time, because it will demonstrate and write large for the American people that this entire process was a rigged process for political purposes. It's kind of ironic that the Democrats in New York changed the law to extend the statute of limitations for alleged sexual assault, specifically to just kind of trap Donald Trump, because they also put a sunset on it. And what happens? Eric Adams and former Governor Andrew Cuomo end up getting sued during this extended period. Talk about the law of unintended consequences. But there's some things happened in New York recently that demonstrate this split in the modern Democrat Party. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so, Roger, we had a party there. I mean, Eric Adams held a party that it had no major DNC or anyone that was running for office. There's nobody there. It's Eric Adams, Kathy Hochul, and it was like a rally or some kind of a dinner rally for Kamala Harris, who did not show up. She was campaigning, I believe, in Philadelphia. But what happened there was Eric Adams shows up and he waves the protesters across the street. And that started it's like he triggered these people, and they went on a rampage, Roger. They destroyed this restaurant. They caused thousands of dollars in damage. There were numerous arrests. They were assaulting police officers. The word stormed. They stormed the restaurant. They were these. They said they were pro-Palestine protesters. They look like just anarchists. And Roger, that I believe is what's going to happen at the Chicago that Democrat National Convention. Those are the people that are going to besiege that town. And what you saw happen in New York City just 2 days or 3 days ago when he had this party is going to happen in Chicago, Roger. It was out of hand. And, of course, the police department, Eric's going to pout his chest and say, we did this and we arrested these people and I'm a patriot and blah, blah, blah. But they never go after the people that are the organizers. Always the low-hanging fruit.
It is indeed. We just pray for equal protection under law and the end of the two-tiered criminal justice system. Also for the safety and prosperity of New Yorkers. We can have it again. Our problems are not insoluble. It just takes strong, honest leadership at all levels. Sal Greco, a proud son of Staten Island, a 14-year veteran of the New York City Police Department. Where can people find you online, Sal?
Sure. So you can find me on X. I'm at the Sal Greco. The same on Instagram. I do have True Social. That's at Head of the Table. And on YouTube, Rumble, it's at the Sal Greco Show if you want to see my show. And also I'm on major platforms like Spotify, Apple, all those the podcast streaming services. You can find me there. And I talk about the same things you just heard me talk about now. And, I'm here just raising awareness because I do care about New York City and especially the taxpayers. You deserve better. And you just need a little bit of information and you can make a well-informed judgment of who you should be voting in. And, of course, for mayor, I don't know what's going to happen. I could just hope for the best. But upcoming, whoever it may be, I would cast my vote for Curtis Leewood. That's what I would do if I was still a New York City resident.
All right. Well, Curtis Lee was clearly paying for lunch.